Hi, everybody. Welcome to the It Hurts to Mom podcast. I'm Lauren Rose, and today we're talking a lot about pacing ourselves. Our guest is Dipti Patel. She's a physical therapist of 23 years, a therapeutic pain specialist, and a yoga teacher who's passionate about treating chronic pain conditions, especially fibromyalgia and complex regional pain syndrome. Her treatment approach is based on treating the whole person, not just painful body parts. It includes nervous system retraining and entire body mobility drills. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor, tell you the truth.
Thanks. So tell us just a little bit about yourself besides the things that I just mentioned, and then we'll get into the pacing.
Absolutely. So I have been a physical therapist for 23 years, and my last 11 years is treating chronic pain conditions, pretty much the fibromyalgia and a complex regional pain syndrome. And I struggled in the beginning. I struggled quite a bit to get the long-lasting relief. So little by little by little, I have involved myself into the whole health approach and then became a yoga teacher and implemented a lot of yoga into my practice. I have done called SFMA. It's a segmental functional mobility drills, which treat as a whole body as a functional unit rather than just treating the painful body part. And then I have really invested into a pain neuroscience and went through a certification training through Purdue University. It's a therapeutic pain specialist program. It's a 6 months course. And that's where that really made a big difference, combining everything. But that's a huge piece that started making a difference in people who are dealing with the chronic pain.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of pain specialists don't do is treat the whole body. And I think that's important because there are a lot of things. I mean, our body is a whole big complex system. It's not just comprised of, individual pieces. Everything's connected. So I think that's really important.
Yes, 100%. And not only a body, but also the mind and the mental, the emotional, and the beliefs, the experiences, and all that. So look at the whole person, their environments, and everything they're coming from, rather than just looking at like a painful knee or a painful back. So I think that starts making I think the whole medical world needs to look at and start treating like that. So.
I completely agree with you. So let's talk about pacing. What exactly does that mean to you?
So pacing is actually it's a must required skills that every person who is dealing with the chronic pain should acquire. And it's a balance between the activity and the rest to manage your symptoms more than anything. So
So why is it important to you?
yeah, so I this is what in my practice, this is what I have seen. There are three categories of people I come across. One category of the people are usually, let's get it done. Like I have this needs to be done. I have time, I'm going to get it done. So they go through this no pain, no gain mentality, get it done, get it done, get it done. So that's the first category of the people. The second category of the people are afraid because they have been gone through this pain experience so many times that they don't want to go through this again. So they play below the pain line. So if the pain line is right here, they just want to be right here. They don't want to touch the pain because they're afraid they have gone through this painful experience. So they are like resting or taking it easy and not allowing the system to learn. And the third category of the people is usually a crash burn. So on good days, they go and do everything what they need to be do. And then second day, they hardly can get out of bed. And it's like a boom bust. They go through these cycles over and over and over again. So what happens when you do that in the beginning stages of your pain, you have a lot more endurance. You can do 3, 4, 5 hours of the activities, but then you need a day or two rest and then you bounce back. But if you keep doing that over and over again, that 4 or 5 hours going to become 2 or 3 hours, and you need a 3 or 4 days of rest before you bounce back. As it goes on, you now can only do 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at most, and you need a whole week sometimes if you have done an extremely physical task. So gradually it brings you down and down and down on your activity tolerance. So that's where it becomes a problem when especially you're dealing with the chronic pain and a fatigue because your energy and endurance and everything goes down. So that's why it's very, very important to find the balance between this activity and the rest in order to not only manage your symptoms, but also to retrain your nervous system.
And I think I found myself in the second two categories kind of off and on. So a lot of times I do work, under my pain level because I'm afraid, to do too much because I don't want to hurt. So I'm scared to unload the dishwasher and then go do something else because I'm afraid of the pain. And then other times, if I'm having a good day or if it's something I really want to do, I know I'm overdoing it and I'm going to pay for it later. I'm going to suffer. But,
Right.
I definitely find myself doing both of those.
Yeah, yeah. So quite a few people go through that. I think sometimes it just we live life and there are things needs to be done. It cannot hold any longer. So you go through it and then you don't worry, the consequence keep coming on and on. So I think it's a lack of there is quite a few things plays a role that why people don't do what they're supposed to do when they're dealing with the chronic pain.
Yeah, it's hard, and, like, if there's a special event, like, there was a wedding I went to a couple of years ago, and I knew I was gonna overdo it. I had prepared for that, and I did, and it took me a week to recover, but it was a once in a lifetime event, so
Right.
I didn't regret it, but most of the time, I do regret it. I do regret overdoing it, and,
Hmm.
my husband's really good about, reminding me to not overexert myself, but sometimes he's not here and I'm just doing it naturally and I get to that point of no return where I realize, okay, oops, I've done too much and I should have been pacing myself.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So pacing can be hard sometimes, what obstacles do you think stand in the way?
So I think that there are actually four obstacles in my opinion. The number one is the lack of knowledge, is not understanding that going through these cycles of flare-ups all the time is making your pain pathways stronger than before. So the longer the pain you are, the more frequently you're dealing with this, the stronger and stronger you're making those pain pathways, which makes your pain even more stubborn and hard to deal with it. So lack of knowledge is a number one. Number two is you're not considering all the factors because sometimes it's not only a physical exertion, it's also an emotional. So let's say you go to an event and you have to deal with the person you don't like to deal with. It could be a mother-in-law or it could be a sister or anybody. By the time you come home and you are just emotionally drained after that activity, that also plays a role when it comes to pain. Also, the mental fatigue. Sometimes, let's say you plan an event, you plan a party at home, so who you're going to invite and what the menu is going to be, how you're going to contact them, what the card's going to be. And if you try to do all that stuff in a one go, that's a lot of mental exhaustion. So considering all the factors, physical, emotional, and a mental exertion when it comes to pacing, and then it requires a structure and the planning. So a lot of people don't have that structure or the commitment and doing it over and over again to master this pacing because it requires that trial and error. It has a learning curve, and you have to keep doing it and build a system that works for you. I think that's why it is hard, that it requires the effort more than anything. So
Yeah, those are really good points. I usually don't factor in the mental and emotional side of activities when, I'm doing them. So I think that's really good because a lot of our physical pain is just made worse by our mental and emotional state and things that stress us
110,
out.
yeah, 110%. Yeah, that's true.
And it does take effort to create a structure and a routine. And then it takes a lot of self discipline to stick to it and to figure out
Hmm.
what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So that's a lot of work in and of itself. Like I have a structured routine that I've set for myself, but I don't always follow it.
Right, right. I think it's required. Again, you have to, as I said, it's a trial and error. It's not going to work every single time because our week might be different from one week to the other week. So it again, you have to. The only major thing is planning and adjusting and learning through the mistakes we make. And that's what anything in life. It's not only about the pacing. That is just the require a regular commitment and doing the work. And the other thing is, most of the chronic pain sufferers, I don't blame them, because they have a brain fog when you're dealing with
Mm.
the chronic pain for a long time. They have a lack of concentration. So doing this is requires them a way more effort than a person who is not dealing with any of those symptoms. That's another reason that's really, really hard on them. So it's not only that they are lazy, it's too much for them sometimes to go through this kind of things.
You're absolutely right. And since chronic pain is so unpredictable, we don't know what each week or each day is going to bring us. And that's one problem I've had with my routine is that, I'm supposed to deep clean the kitchen every Monday and the bathrooms on Tuesday, etc. But, sometimes on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever day I'm supposed to do something, I'm having a really bad day. And I can't do it, whether it's because I just can't concentrate or I can't get out of bed or, my anxiety's too high and I just feel overwhelmed. There's just so much stuff that gets in the way of keeping my routine consistent.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I think it's sometimes not scheduling and then just follow that schedule like a T. Sometimes you have to maneuver things around it in order to what works for you for that particular day, and being able to mend your activities and replan things, move things around. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the strategies in a second, where I have some tips and some techniques that you can follow through.
Yeah, let's get to that. How can a person start to pace themselves?
Yeah. So what I recommend is, again, I don't want to overwhelm you. It's a lot more than that, but I do want you to walk away with this one really good strategy that I teach everybody. That first thing on Sunday afternoon, make this schedule that on Sunday afternoons you're going to sit down. You're going to give yourself about 30 minutes of time. Sit down and get a piece of paper and just make those seven lines, Monday to next Sunday, and then open up your calendar and write down all the events you have for that particular week, any doctor appointments, any particular events you must attend. All that stuff goes on there first. Second thing, you have to open up your weather. Look at the weather on the
Mhm.
upcoming week, because sometimes the storms or the cold weather is going to create more symptoms. So just write down what the forecast looks like for the upcoming week. And then the third thing, you want to look at what things must get done this week. What is, like, let's say you don't have enough clean clothes in the house. So the laundry has to get done by the end of this week. So you have to put the laundry in there. And maybe you haven't vacuumed the house or whatever that is. So do or grocery shopping. You don't have enough food in the fridge. You must do the grocery shopping. So those must activities goes in there first. Not only that, anything that's going to require more mental energies or the emotional energies for this week, you also have to consider those in the account. Once you figure that out, you have to schedule one is going to be a heavy energy day. It could be mental, physical, or the emotional energy day, followed by a light activity day. So you have to arrange those things around. Try not to do everything in one day. So that's a number one strategies to implement. The second strategies I would like you to implement is the on a heavy activities day. Let's say you have to get the vacuum done today. You have to pay the bills and you have to fold the laundry and you have to make a meal. So then you want to create a circuit. So most of the time when you stand for a longer period of time, you're in pain. If you sit for a longer period of time, you're in pain. If you do some physical exertion like vacuuming, it's going to cause the pain. So create a circuit. Well, let's say I have about hour and a half. I'm going to do 15 minutes, sit down and fold the laundry. Then I'm going to go to the kitchen and going to work on standing up and cook maybe 10 minutes, whatever your endurance is, whatever your baseline is. You want to touch the pain. As soon as that pain hits, you stop and you sit down at the table and pay your bills. Once you feel like, okay, this is enough sitting, I don't want to sit, my neck, I just started feeling tension, get up and start vacuuming. Let's say you do 15-20 minutes of vacuuming and then you're tired. Go back to the laundry and start folding your laundry again. Don't, again, maybe you want to repeat this 2-3 times, 4 times max. Do what you can do by that and be happy with that. You don't have to have this perfectionist or get it done approach. Listen to your body. Do what you can.
Mhm.
Maybe next time when you come back in, if you listen to your body and respect that pain line, Next week you might going to be able to do maybe 1 or 2 minutes in each circuit, and that's how you want to retrain the system. So you have to be patient, listen to your body, and then implement the strategies. So light activities versus a heavy activity day throughout the week, and also within the heavy activity you want to create a circuit where you follow the standing versus sitting versus more physical activity in a circuit. That way you allow the body to do the function but not flaring up the symptoms at the same time.
I think that's really a smart idea that I don't think I've thought of, doing a little bit of this and then, listening to my body, which I think is really, really important. And I do try to do that. But when I'm on a task, I usually think I need to finish this task right now before I move on to something else. But you're saying that that's not the case, that we need to just get a little bit done here and a little bit done there and listen to our body to decide what we're going to do. I think that's really smart.
It is. I mean, even if the 2 rooms gets vacuumed done, it's okay. Accept it. This is the fact. That's all my body can handle today. So you just have to let that go, and ask for help. If you have a family member or somebody wants to willing to help, just say, well, this is all I could do today. Would you mind to get this taken? Like half of the cooking got done. Can you please take over after this point? So
Yeah, and this isn't really regarding pacing, but another thing that I've done is modify all of my tasks. So it does hurt me to stand up for more than a couple of minutes. So I sit down to do just about everything. I mean, I can sweep and mop my floors sitting down. I just move around from my couch to the chair to, another chair. I've got a bar stool in the kitchen. So if I need to prepare meals or cook, I sit down to do that. I sit down to put, my dishes in the dishwasher. I sit down to do just about everything. I've got
uh-huh.
seating everywhere in my house, and it's really incredibly helpful. And I can get more done if I don't have to stand up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, listening what works for you and modifying things and mending as the time goes on, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think that's really an important thing too, is to modify your tasks based on what your body needs. And my body needs to be sitting or lying down. And I
Uh-huh.
I also usually lie down in between tasks because that's where my body's the most comfortable, is lying down. So I can't lie down to
Yeah.
do my chores, but I can lie
No,
down
and
between them.
absolutely. Sometimes within those heavy exertion, just sit down for maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, work on your breathing, just sit and relax and allow that recovery time before you move on to the next task. That's
Mhm.
absolutely, as I said, this requires lots of trial and error, and we are all unique. We are all different. One thing works for one person, not necessarily works for the other. So we all have to try and see what life demands from us and what our body can handle at that particular time.
Right. Yeah, we're all different, but I think pacing in your own way will work for everybody. I think it's a really important strategy.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Every person who is dealing with the chronic pain and the symptoms, it's kind of must required skills that they should have.
Yeah, I agree. And it's hard because most of us want to get everything on our to-do list done in
Hmm.
that same day. I know I do. I write a to-do list every day and I feel disappointed when I don't get everything done. But I try not to feel too guilty because I know that it's my body and it's not me just being lazy. It's I just can't sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why when you plan in advance, you just want to prioritize that what needs to be get done this week, and just put a star that groceries and laundries are my must list this week, and vacuuming gets done or doesn't get done. It's okay. We're gonna be fine. So having that
Mm.
idea in the mind also gives you allowed to move on rather than having that guilty or maybe a shame that, oh my gosh, I can't even do that. So it just allows you to do that. So I think that's why that preparing in advance and planning in advance does really help you to feel more productive, and you still got done what you needed to get it done.
Right. And by prioritizing, you're really getting done, like you said, the things that really need to get done. I tend to make my to-do lists too long, that they're unreasonable, where, at least I do that often, not all the time. I'm getting better, but I have noticed that I'll put so many things on my to-do list for a day that it's hard for a normal person to get all that stuff done, much less a person with chronic pain. So I've really had to work on that and really prioritize.
And I think that goes with our personalities. Some of us are an overachievers, and that comes to me too many times. It took me a while that nope, I'm only going to have three things needs to be done this week, and that's all. The three main things needs to be done, and the three small things needs to be done on a regular basis in order to have like what's most important in order for me to get done today. And that's where I started focusing on, because my list was the to-do list was every day was so much like at least I want to get it done 40 things by the end of the week. And I think it comes with that overachiever personality. And then moving from overachiever to a high achiever is the key. That rather than focusing on the this, what's most important, enjoy that journey, be present, and feel more productive and proud for getting that done. So it's a mind shift more than anything.
Definitely. I think my therapist too, when I listed all the things I wanted to get done, she mentioned to me, that's just a lot for anybody, you're being
Mhm.
unreasonable to yourself. So I have to watch that, but because I
Yeah.
definitely think I'm a high achiever and I like getting things done. I like marking off things on my to-do list. It makes me feel accomplished and it makes me feel
Hmm.
like I'm worthy of a person as a person. But
Yeah.
we have to remember that our worth as a person is not based in our productivity, and that's a
That's,
hard one to remember.
yep, 110%. Amen to that.
What do we do when we get flare-ups? You have 5 tips, right?
Yeah, I do. So flare-ups are a normal part of living when you're dealing with the chronic pain. They do come. And I think the more and more, it's because it goes with the pacing, the more and more this flare up comes, the stronger and stronger those pain pathways become. So I do want to share my 5 important strategies to deal with this, to deal with the flare ups. So number one is you have to think outside the box. So find out your pain formula. Most of the time when flare up happens, what we do, we usually take a ibuprofen. I have done it that myself in the past, that I'll wake up and I have a severe back pain. First thing, I'll call in sick. I'll get up, pack lunches for my kids, drop them to school bus, come home and sleep. And I'll sleep till they come home. So I will take a good six hours nap. And then I'll wake up and I have to get going. But that night I can't sleep because I slept all day. And the next day I feel exhaustion. But that was not the best way to deal with my flare ups. The second mistake people make with the flare-ups, that they're not prepared in advance. The same thing we talked about, the pacing. So make sure you have your pain formula written down. So not only pain medications or the TENS or the hot pack or the cold pack, but think about what really makes you feel better, like really lifts your energy up or calm down your nervous system. It could be sitting on a porch and having a cup of tea, or sitting on a swing and watching the birds, or really going for a small walk and enjoying that breeze, or going, if you can't handle a walk that day, maybe going for a long ride on a particular route that you would like to take. So find out what really helps you to calm down your nervous system. That's a number one. Number two is finding out what really helps you in that particular flare ups. Let's say you have a neck and shoulder and upper back flare up, and you have tried TENS unit in the past and the heating pad or the vibrator or a massager or a massage gun, and that really helps you to calm down your pain. Make a basket full of those things that's helping you. So whatever, like essential oil or ointment or a pain patch or any of those things, just collect them, because when you're in flare up, the last thing you want to do is get up and start collecting those things. So be organized, get a basket or a tote and collect all those things that helps you when you are in that flare up. Now, again, think outside the box. So not only those things, but maybe a coloring books, or maybe a painting, or maybe crossword puzzles, or some beadwork, or something that you really enjoy and you like to do because that really helps you to calm down. Keep those things in the collections as well. Also have the, like, apps. Could be a meditation apps, or it could be a nice music apps, or it could be a nice yoga flow or a tai chi flow, or that really helps you to calm down when you are like, you really feel good when you have tried it in the past. Keep the collections of those things. So that's a second strategy, is to know exactly what works for you to calm you down and have that stuff ready. Number three is tracking this thing. So again, make a log, and when you have flare up, what time the flare up starts, what you did, and did that work for you or not. Let's say you had a flare up for a neck and back, and you tried Epsom salt bath. That worked great. So keep that in the thing. And then you tried a TENS unit. Well, TENS unit did not help. Well, you tried heating pad. Heating pad didn't help. But when you tried cold pack, that helped. So knowing the patterns, what works and what doesn't work, and how long does the flare up last, that will help you to stay prepared when that flare up hits again next time. So learn from your experiences that what's worked for you and what doesn't work for you. Number four is having the list of the people who are willing to help you. So when you're really in a bad flare up, asking for a help from a friend or a family members is the key. It could be picking up your kids or picking up your groceries or delivering the packages or any kind of those things. When your body is not able to do those things, please ask for help. A lot of people are very hesitant. They avoid people when they are in flare up. Don't do that. Please try to approach, and because this is a part of your healing journey, you have to consider, because people are willing to help. I would be love to willing to help whoever is needs, whoever calls when they are in a bad situation. Most of us as a human, giving is a part of nature. So please ask for help in those times. The last but not the least is do and don'ts. When flare up happens, stay away from alcohol, smoking, caffeine, staying in bed all day, self-sabotaging yourself, or doing any negative talks. Avoid toxic people because that does not help you in any way. And you must focus on your hydration, nutrition, prioritize your sleep, and gentle mobility. Not staying in bed all day, but moving around a little by little by little and doing a gentle mobility flow. Also, the neurodynamics or the nerve mobility drills, I do teach those in my programs, the tactile acuity drills. They also help you to calm down your pain. So those are my 5 strategies. And I do have the workbook and a video training on each of this, how to do that, on my link in bio and my Instagram. If anybody's interested, that's something you can look into it.
I think those are all really good. I really like the ideas of having a box of things that calm down your nervous system. I've got one for my anxiety, but I've never thought about making one for my physical pain. So I think that's a really good idea that I don't have to be, looking all over the house for my heating pad or my, ointment that I roll on or whatever it is. So I think
Right.
that's really interesting. And your fourth one, asking for help, is huge. That's one of my biggest tips for living with chronic pain and chronic illness. You have to ask for help from your kids, from your spouse, from your family, from your friends, from a
Mm-hmm.
housekeeper, whatever it is. It's really important because people like to help you. If they love you and care about you, they'll be happy to
Yes.
help. And we just have to get over this, no, I'm strong and independent, I can't ask for help kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't know. There are many times I have a couple neighbors, and it just a hesitant. They just don't feel, I don't know why, what blocks them, but they just don't feel comfortable that, hey, I really need help. So,
Yeah, I think that's really important. And also, it seems like your fifth one, your don'ts are, stay away from these things that aren't good for your body and do these things that are good for your body. And what the one that stood out to me was not staying in bed all day, because that's what I do when I'm having a flare up is I stay in bed all day.
mhm.
But that does often make it worse because my body's not getting any kind of movement.
Correct. And because you get stiff, you get deconditioned, you get weak over the time, you're not getting enough blood flow, and you're not allowing that system to train again. So again, I know you're in a bad flare up, but maybe get up every 30 minutes, move around more 5 minutes, and then go back and lay down again and change a position. So if you're laying in the sofa, go back to the bed, or maybe sit in the recliner, or maybe just change the positions around. That's also really helps to calm down and get you out of the flare up much faster.
I think that's a really good one. That's a hard one. But, it also, I think when I stay in bed all day, it's dark in the room and I'm home by myself and I'm just in bed hurting. It also affects my mental health. It kind of makes me more depressed about having a flare up. So
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, I'll go to the living room and lay on the couch and I'll have the blinds open so the sun is coming in. And I think that helps my mental health a little bit, not feel so bad, because at least I'm getting a little bit of light. and I'm
Right.
changing my position and my scenery.
Yeah, yeah, 100% because you're dealing with this pain. It's already depressing. On top of that, if you stay in bed all day, it even becomes more depressing. And then you're going to self-sabotage yourself. And then you're going to go in this deep, dark hole again, which takes, again, a lot of energy to come out. And it's not worth it.
Yeah. So that's one I definitely need to work on. But it's just, it feels natural when you're hurting really badly to stay in bed all day.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we did. I have done it myself, as I said, and I think that just screws me up more than anything. It just rather than I should just do something and look a bit more holistic and really help myself with self-care, maybe take an Epsom salt bath or just relax, do a gentle mobility flow, and maybe work on some good nutrition that day, and maybe rest. I'm not saying don't rest 100%, but sleeping for like 6, 7 hours it's not good either. So
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think you're right. And it's definitely one that I need to work on myself.
yeah, we all do, including me.
So, where can we get more information about you and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my website is called smartfunctionalfitness.com, and I have two programs that I run. One is a membership program that is the slow paced. So anybody who says my body can take this, that's fine. So I have a little slow paced program, and the second program I run is more accelerated program, which requires about 20 minutes of commitment every day. So if you like I'm all in. Give me, I'm committed. Just let's do this. So that's a 10-week accelerated program. So you have those choices, whatever works for you. So that's where you can work with me. I also have an Instagram account. It's Therapeutic Pain Program. You can follow me there. So
Awesome. I'll have those links in the show notes so everybody will be able to get them.
yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been really interesting and I think a really good conversation.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was an honor. And thank you so much from all my heart for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Um, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any health, parenting, or life advice. For my freebie 30 ways to relieve pain without taking a pill, go to ithurtstomom.com/tips. And of course, if you have any comments, suggestions, or want to be on this podcast, email me at ithurtstomom@gmail.com. Have a blessed and pain-free day. Bye.